How you doing? My name is Adisa Banjoko. I am a podcaster on Stoic philosophy, and I'm here to teach you about the intro to Stoicism as well as some fundamental Stoic practices. So, Stoicism was created by Zeno of Citium, which is in modern day Cyprus, in 335 BC. Stoicism actually doesn't really refer to an idea, but Stoa is a place. Zeno and other philosophers used to gather on a painted porch to talk about their ideas, and that's where you get Stoa, the stairs. Okay. Over time, this philosophy would kind of take over the planet. It was went from the Greeks to the Romans, from the Romans to a lot of the Muslims, and the Muslims translated a lot of those and preserved a lot of Stoic wisdom in the Middle Ages. And that preservation opened the door to keep these ideas alive throughout Europe and the rest of the world. So, three main characters in the understanding of Stoic ideas and philosophy are Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor born in 121 AD. His journal writings, meditations, is studied around the world, everywhere from straight up philosophy classes to business leaders to athletes. Anybody talking about having a modern mindset that's winning is usually at some point going to bring up Marcus Aurelius. Epictetus was born in 50 AD. He was born into slavery and not only went on to become free, but he actually ended up being an advisor to the Emperor Nero, which that's a crazy story in itself. You should look into that. And then we have Seneca, right? Also known as Seneca the Younger. He was born in 5 BCE, and his ideas are just fantastic. So check into any of their work and be enlightened. One of my favorite pieces by Seneca is called On the Shortness of Life, and that was one of the things that really pulled me into Stoicism. Now, there's a lot I could say about Stoicism. There's a lot that people will say about Stoicism, and I could yammer on forever talking about Stoic ideas, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to give you kind of like an outline of what Stoics fundamentally believe and some of their practices, because there's a big kind of wave of Stoic admiration that is kind of rooted in, online quotes on Instagram or people quoting them on TikTok or whatever, right? But that's a big difference between quoting people all day and doing what Stoics did that made them think the way they thought to write the things they wrote that everybody's quoting today. So rather than kind of get you caught up in their quotes, I would rather introduce you to their practices and let you do those on your own. So first, we're going to talk about the 4 Stoic virtues, okay? The first virtue is wisdom, right? I mean, you can't be a philosopher if you're not a lover of wisdom and you don't care about the preservation and the expansion of your own wisdom and the wisdom that kind of disseminates in society. So that is a core virtue, right? And not only that, to be a Stoic means to be in love with the truth as it evolves so that you're not lost in the current dogma, right? If a new truth comes up, you should be able to accept it if it's proven to be real and not have a lot of animosity about it. Courage. Stoics know that in the pursuit of truth, one must be courageous. Individuals may be persecuted by their loved ones. You might lose your job. People might write bad things about you online because of what you believe, right? So you have to have courage. There might be physical threats. This happens, okay? So a Stoic must be courageous and unafraid to speak and live on the truth that they know. Then there's justice, being fair to others, especially to those unlike us, in our daily lives. And to promote justice in society is important to Stoic practitioners. Marcus Aurelius said that justice is the source of all other virtues. And then finally, and I think for young people this is especially important, moderation. Understanding that extreme feelings and or expressions of anger, sadness, fear, and happiness can often lead to a bad outcome. How many times have you seen, something go on in society, people are upset, and then that upsetment over a just idea ends up in a portion of a city being burnt down and all kinds of other people getting hurt. Same time, happiness. Hooray, our team just won the Super Bowl or the NBA. Hey, let's go burn down this other part of the city, right? Even good things done to an extreme can go wrong. right? So moderation is important for a Stoic. All aspiring Stoics are always careful to seek balance in their consumption of food, drink, alone time, time on the phone, party time, right? Try to have a deliberate balance. That's what a Stoic is going to advise you to do, is always have a deliberate balance. Don't get too lost on one side or too lost on the other, the middle path. Okay, so it is from this foundation that most of the Stoic ideas are formed and evolved, and they shaped the ideas that led and guided some of the most popular military strategists, business leaders, film stars, athletes, and Silicon Valley people. It's pretty amazing, like how many people have been affected and impacted by Stoicism. Now, before I get super, 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 super deep, which I promise not to do on this video, I do want to talk about this because, in the last 5 to 7 years, Stoicism has had a major uptick, especially online. And there are a lot of people saying that they're Stoic, and there are other people posting things claiming to be Stoic. But I want to guard you against something. Stoicism is not a way to numb or not feel your emotions. To the contrary, Stoics are taught to really process what they feel. If you feel sad, you need to really think about that. If you feel anger, right, fear, happiness, you need to really sit with those emotions and feel it. If you're angry, it's okay to be angry. If you're sad, it's okay to cry. If you're scared, it's okay to acknowledge that fear, right? But after you do that, it is the job of a practicing Stoic to take the most virtuous, just, and compassionate action after processing their feelings. So a Stoic is always meant to do the best thing that could and should be done given the situation. It is not to bury your emotions. Too many times I find a lot of people, particularly politicians and business leaders, mistake a lack of compassion or make outright cold and callous accusations and statements, right? And then they try to frame them as Stoic, or their supporters will frame that individual as Stoic, right? But that is not being Stoic. Seneca wrote that wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness. So being kind to people, having compassion, is actually more in line with Stoicism than pretending not to feel, right? Or trying to numb yourself from feeling. That's not being Stoic. So, what are some of the Stoic practices and where could you start with them? So, I'm going to give you 2 Stoic practices. There are many, and I encourage you to try each of these examples for 21 days because it takes 21 days to build a habit and it takes 90 days to build a lifestyle, to make this something that you regularly do. So the first one is called the view from above. What is the view from above? The view from above is a way to depersonalize, or I think the term they use is decatastrophize things that happen, right? Because we all have it rough on some level, right? Never think that somebody, just because they're a different age, race, culture, they live in some different part of the planet, or they're poorer than you, or they're richer than you, or in the middle from you, that they don't feel what you feel, that they don't have their own trials, right? But when we're taking on our own trials, a lot of times these things can feel supremely personal, right? I've been there deeply, sincerely, been like, why is this happening to me? What did I do? Why am I feeling this way? Why is the world kind of against me in this moment? And the truth is, that a lot of crazy things are happening to all of us every day of the week, forever. And this is just part of our experience as a human organism walking the earth. So they have this thing called the view from above. You can do this. I usually do this in the morning or at night. So either right before bed or like after I wake up and I've, brush it and all that stuff. So what you'll do is you'll sit down, you close your eyes, and you'll visualize yourself either laying down in your bed or, sitting in a chair or sitting on the couch. And then I want you to pull up and imagine you were looking at yourself from about 100 feet above. So you see your house, you see the neighboring apartments, you see the park, you see cars, right? You see the hospital. Pull back up, look at the whole city. Look how little all the little cars look and everything, okay? And you think about all of the people the funerals, the births. People are going to school. People are going to work, right? People are watching the news. Other people are making the news. Other people are writing the news. Moms, dads, kids, they all have their things in that society. And you pull back. You look at the whole country. Observe it. Pull back. Look at the globe and think about all of the things that are happening at the same time to all these different people. And look at how beautiful all of it is, even if it is painful at times. And this view from above can help you depersonalize your pain and help you understand that so much of this is just our individual experience as a human organism. No one's against you. Nothing's about you. It's just that life is happening to all of us at the same time. This was one of the first Stoic practices that I started with, and it's the first Stoic practice that made me look into tons of other Stoic practices. There are many, right? The other one is, and this is something that I still do really often, the most often, and that is called Stoic journaling. Okay, so this is a really cool thing to do. And again, 21 days to create a habit, 90 days to create a lifestyle. Okay, I'm encouraging you to do this for 21 days, and I think that you will find some brilliant things in it. So to do a Stoic journal, you're just going to get a blank journal, from Amazon or your favorite bookstore, card shop, whatever. Okay, get a nice pen to go with it, park it, okay? And then at the end of every day, just turn off your phone or maybe put on some lo-fi. I like to write to lo-fi because there's no words. And then I will ask myself the same 5 questions every day. The same 5. The first is, what did I do well today? And you might say to yourself, well, what kind of question is that? Because these are hard questions in the beginning. But what does it mean to have done something well to you? Is it good that you gamed for 5 hours, or is it good that you studied for 5? Is it good that you went and exercised today? Or is it good that you exercised so hard you can't really stand up anymore, right? What did you do well today? Then what did you do bad? Again, you have to investigate your own head and heart and say, wow, was it good that I ate a whole bag of chips? Or was it good that I just jogged for a quarter mile? Was it good that I got into an argument with my teacher because I really believed it, or was I actually being disruptive? And you can figure these things out for yourself. Okay. Then the next question, where was my self-discipline or self-control tested? This is where you will really start to discover who you are on a day-to-day basis, right? Meaning that, let's say you went to school, there was a party in class, and they had cake. But you said you were going to be working out and you were going to be watching your diet, right? Did you have the cake? Why or why not? Why did you have the cake? Maybe you said, look, I had the cake, but I'm going to jog 2 miles. I jogged 2 miles afterwards. Okay, fine. Or I didn't eat the cake because I'm really trying to get on the track team, or because I'm really trying to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds, or I'm just trying to be better and test myself. And so I didn't eat it. Okay. It can also have, emotional things, right? Where was your self-discipline or self-control tested? Maybe your family member got on your nerves today. Maybe a teacher upset you. Maybe a stranger on the bus or the train said or did something that really offended you, right? And then the next question, why did this happen? Looking into the why really helps us. That's where you start to figure it out. Where you got into a little argument with someone on the train, and you realized you were irritated because you really had just finished arguing with your dad because you wanted to go to a party, and he said no. And that person had nothing to do with why you got into that argument on the train. But you were already agitated. And at any other time, that wouldn't have bothered you. Okay? So why did this happen? Investigate the why. And then finally, my favorite one is, how can I improve? All of us every day can do a little bit better. All right? Just a little bit better. You don't have to be perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. Right? So this is the practice of Stoic journaling. I encourage you to do it for 21 days. And you will see where you keeping your word to yourself, where are you failing your word to yourself, where are you half and half. And so I find these two Stoic practices to be a great intro. I've been doing Stoic journaling for like 5 years now, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop. I don't do it every day, but almost every day. Almost every day I do some Stoic journaling, and I found it to be supremely enriching and centering for me as an individual. I can tell when I haven't been journaling because I'm kind of holding on to too much emotion. I'm kind of holding on to too much frustration. And I find it to be truly enriching. So that is the conclusion for Introduction to Stoicism and Stoic Practice. Thank you for taking this time to watch it. And if you were wondering about books to begin with, I will suggest the following. Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. That's one of the first, probably the first actual Stoic book I jumped into. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. How to Be a Stoic by Massimo Pigliucci. And one of my favorites is How to Think Like a Roman Emperor by Donald Robertson. So thank you for checking this out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and have a fantastic day.